Hi everyone, welcome back to episode 2 of Hot Girls Love Jesus. Our first episode, which launched last month, was on just a quick intro to the podcast, what to expect, who it was for, where it came from, the meaning behind it, all of that. This episode is just going to be going into a little bit more depth of what will be making Hot Girls Love Jesus different than any other Christian podcast you've seen before. I can pretty much guarantee it, for better or worse, but in large part, a lot of the source of where the differences are going to come and why the messaging in this podcast is going to be a little bit different does come from my particular background. So all of the specifics of my upbringing, my journey in faith, all of that will be included in the testimony video I'll be sharing probably sometime next week. But in lieu of that, the super short condensed version and the highlights of it are essentially that I grew up not only not religious, but incredibly atheist, outspokenly atheist, against all religions, but especially Christianity, for various different reasons we'll get into. But that's reason number one. Thing number two is that I also grew up in LA. So grew up with, very progressive, liberal values and everything that comes along with it. Grew up very deeply ingrained in modern feminism as well. And those two things are really the big things that I think are giving me a perspective that's just a little bit different than most Christian believers. Growing up staunchly atheist, staunchly anti-Christian, and being very, very deeply ingrained in progressive values, liberal values, and modern feminism just give me kind of a unique perspective on how to view, interpret, and share the Word of God and the teachings of Jesus in maybe a different way than most. But I think it's all for the best, that God has a plan, and of course He's taken me on the journey that He did for a reason. To me, that reason is to help share and spread the teachings of Jesus and the Word of God with a new audience, into a new generation or type of possible future believer that may not have gotten to experience it or been as open to it like I once was for a very, very long time, who hopefully will just help people see Christianity in maybe a different way than they did before. So going back a little bit into what particularly about how I grew up gave me a unique perspective on Christianity that will be affecting how we share it. So for one, I grew up with very negative stereotypes of what it means to be Christian, who Christians are. Obviously was very against and well-versed in all of the many atrocities that have been committed in the name of Christianity and by Christian believers across history, all of which needs to be acknowledged and condemned, but also should and deserves to be separated from Christian teachings themselves. The role of the church is its own human-led institution that has its own flaws, just like any human-led institution, but it's important that we separate that and separate Christianity's historical baggage from the teachings of Jesus, because there's plenty of times when we can look at those atrocities and ask, is this what Jesus would have done? For example, WWJD, probably not that, So, but all that we'll get into in some special hot topic, like controversy debate style videos throughout the podcast. So that's one thing that'll be different. Another one is, and another thing that I'll kind of come into components with this is, just updating and refreshing and getting rid of some negative stereotypes about what it means for your life, what it means for you emotionally, and in an everyday experience to be Christian, because I think there are a lot of negative stereotypes out there, like the ones that I was raised with, that really kept me away from finding Jesus and finding God for a very, very, very long time. And so that's one thing. Another thing is my strong belief and conviction that I hope to be sharing and spreading through this podcast, among many other things, is that the teachings of Jesus and Christ should be separated from specific political affiliations tied with them. So in my personal belief, it doesn't make sense to say, or to even to associate Christianity with conservatism or republicanism any more than it does to associate Christianity with liberalism, progressivism, and like a democratic sphere or anything like that. it just doesn't make sense, because in my personal opinion, if you look at the teachings of God, the teaching of Jesus, either side has plenty of things that don't necessarily agree with what that would be. So I think it's so important and about time that we separate Christianity from associating it with republicanism, conservatism, and I think that's necessary because the central underlying messages of the Bible, Jesus, what it means to have a relationship with God, and the healing power it has to change your life are positive goods that the world needs more of and can benefit more of on a grander social scale, and also for individuals, how we experience this life and live within it. And I do not think that politics and political debate have any place interfering with how comfortable, welcoming, invited, and accepted someone feels into learning these messages and incorporating them into their life. So that's another big thing that's going to make this different from maybe other types of Christian messaging you've seen before, is that I have a very large, expansive understanding and appreciation for both the pros and cons of the opposite sides of what it means to grow up pro-science, anti-religion, progressive, liberal, a modern feminist woman, all that things, and an understanding and appreciation for what it means to have conservative values, traditional values, what it means to have a relationship with God, be family-oriented, be religiously oriented, have a spiritual life. There are pros and cons in each of those things, and really what I want to do with this podcast is make sure that more than anything, the Word of God and the teachings of Jesus are available and welcome, and something that everyone, from no matter your political affiliation, no matter your cultural upbringing, can understand and see the worth of, heal from, and yeah, just kind of go with that sort of perspective on it. So yeah, and then a little bit more of like a fun pursuit of the podcast is, I guess you could say, like rebrand Christianity as something that is fun and cool and you know, not trendy, because ideally people want to be Christians forever and ever, but just something that is like cool, fun, just as mainstream, popular, exciting as any other type of worldview or lifestyle that people pursue for, especially in our modern world, and all of that. And also to make it known that just because you're Christian doesn't mean you can't have fun, doesn't mean you can't be yourself, doesn't mean you can't be authentic to you, doesn't mean you can't have your own sense of personal style, all of that sort of stuff. That's more on like the fun side of things. But yeah, that's all I wanted to share in this episode. We have lots in store. I have many episodes already filmed and shot, one of which is a wonderful guest interview episode with my dear friend Valentina Mura. The hot topic for that one is going to be women in business and how to strive after material success and financial independence in a way that aligns with our Christian values and honors our faith as women of God. So stay tuned for that. I'm so excited you're here. I'm so excited to be building this community of female believers all over the world. And yeah, so thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day. My question for you is to share in the comments or wherever you want what negative stereotypes you may have had growing up for Christianity. If you weren't always religious, maybe share what kept you back from it before, and what you'd like to see Christianity rebranded as from what it is now. So we'd love to hear your thoughts on all of those. And yes, God bless and have a great day.